What's up and welcome back to the channel. The name is Ninja Knight. Make sure you like the video, make sure you share the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell up above for future uploads. Thank you. So here we have Hasbro Pulse on Mando Monday and he said it's coming in hot. Now for me, not really. I would have liked to see something else from this line, barring this character if you want to say that you're coming in hot. Check out the Star Wars The Black Series Bo Katan Kryze, a gifted warrior. Bo Katan Kryze is a legendary Mandalorian. She refused to align with the Empire's occupation of Mandalore. Pre-order her today starting at 4 PM ET on Hasbro Pulse. Now I've made it very clear that I'm not a big fan of this character. However, I do understand that there are many people out there that do like this character. Looking at the sculpt, it looks very good. I do have to say that the sculpt for Katie Sackhoff, particularly in the head sculpt, looks really good. And it just really cements the parts that, particularly with the Anakin Skywalker Episode 2 head sculpt, in how Hasbro are actually able to nail these likenesses, and then some of the other likenesses, it seems like they're just unable to capture what the actors look like. I mean, you only have to look at the recently announced Grief Karga, for example, that really is a very big disservice to Carl Weathers and how he looks, which is quite disappointing. And some people have drawn criticism to how Giancarlo Esposito's Moff Gideon looks. But overall, looking at the armour here, it does look quite nice. We have Bo Katan's wolf symbol here. That's something that is a Dave Filoni staple. And then we have her helmet here painted up with some scratches. Now, I'll be very clear in saying that I do not like removable helmets on the characters. I think the helmets 9 times out of 10 look too big. I think the heads look too small. And also I think as well with the helmets, it is difficult when you're putting them on, and possibly sometimes you can scratch paint off the face. Looking at Captain Rex, for example, his nose was always a point where it could have been scratched off. I also think as well, if you are moving the head, particularly the helmet head around, that it really does affect then how it looks from different angles. Sometimes you'll see a chin poking out, and given the fact that Katie Sackhoff's head here, the sculpt for this looks like it has a fairly large chin, along with the hair sculpt, could pose a problem. Now, they obviously are going to give us fairly good pictures for this one, so it would be interesting to see what they look like in hand. What I'm going to suggest is that Hasbro should stop doing the removable helmets for these figures. Well, what's the alternative, I hear you say? Just look at the Power Rangers Lightning Collection, for example. You have a helmeted head that can be used as an accessory, and then you have an unhelmeted head like this one. So you swap the heads over. I think that would be a perfect way to link these up. I think it would look well, and I think overall it would look better in my opinion. Her blasters look nice, and overall it's a decent looking costume. It's not something that I am absolutely crazy about personally myself. We have here the box art, and as we can see here, it looks like a blaster and a bit of a knee pad, possibly from a Stormtrooper. This could be the rumoured Mortar Trooper, and as I've said in previous videos, we are going to see a lot more repaints and re-releases from this line, as the budget has been, in my opinion, from these releases over the last couple of weeks, confirmed to have been slashed. So we're seeing single elbows, single knees, for example, and we're seeing not an awful lot of accessories coming with these figures. So I'd say most of this body sculpt is probably going to be reused for the Sasha Banks character that was in The Mandalorian also. And as you can see here from the head, the way it's turned here, the helmet looks absolutely enormous. And I'm sure you can see exactly what I'm talking about, whereas if this was a swappable helmeted head and a swappable unhelmeted head, it would be a lot tighter knit and it would look a lot better. Right now she looks kind of like a bobblehead. It looks way oversized in terms of what it should look like, in my opinion. So here we have another blaster pose. It's impressive. It looks okay. I'm sure people that like the character are very much so looking forward to this. I do think the design, and if it comes out as clean as this on the finished prototype, or finished published figure I should say, it looks pretty decent. I'm sure that this would be good custom fodder for a lot of people as well too, and particularly with the female heads underneath the helmet, I'm sure people will use that then. So as I said here, there seems to be an arm and a blaster and then a knee pad there of what looks to be a Stormtrooper there, so I wouldn't be too surprised if it was a Mortar Trooper or something of some such. The next thing that we're seeing here now is the Archive Collection figures. So here we have a Shore Trooper. So again, like I said, we're going to get plenty of re-releases. So he's the Shore Trooper here. I do like the packaging on this, the way it's gold, and the 50 Lucasfilm limited. It's a pity that the Lucasfilm themselves at the moment don't respect the history of the Star Wars mythos, but there you go. And next we have then a Tuscan Rider. So the Tuscan Rider is a nice re-release. It was a figure that was difficult to get a hold of, and even in the 40th anniversary collection, that was actually a tough enough figure to get. But what's interesting about this is the Tuscan Raider. I think that they're going to go with this being more so a Mandalorian character than they are going to be an OT character, which is quite interesting in itself, given the fact that they're quite known from the OT. I think the Tuscan Rider looks nice. We also then have a Death Trooper, or Death Trooper I should say, and it's just a standard release there. There's nothing too special from this. We've got the gold writing on the side. I'm sure for people that missed out on them at the time of Rogue One and want them to army build now for the Mandalorian are probably happy enough with this now, so that's probably a good thing. It's interesting though to see all of these re-releases, particularly from Rogue One, isn't it? And what sort of impact is that going to have going forward? Are we going to see these designs yet again? We do know for the Mandalorian, for example, they are on a budget that they have to have used old props. For example, that's why we're seeing Tusken Riders and certain other props that are being used again and again, and certain characters like Jawas and stuff like that have been used because it's easy to rework some earlier props, from what I understand. We have the Imperial hover tank driver. Again, this seems to me something that is just being re-released, maybe because a lot of people at Lucasfilm and Hasbro understand that people liked the Rogue One movie and that these designs are quite decent, and it's an easy repackage. Now, what I'm going to say is because we're looking at troopers and they're in the archive line, the idea of the archive line was to bring us figures that were going to have updated and face printed technology used on them, particularly on head sculpts and characters that needed it. So, for example, the likes of Jango Fett, the likes of Luke Skywalker from A New Hope, the likes of Luke Skywalker from Empire Strikes Back, the likes of Luke Skywalker as well from Return of the Jedi. We also have the likes of Qui-Gon Jinn, that badly probably needs an all-new head sculpt, to be fair, in this line. That was supposed to be what this line was supposed to be selling. But now we're actually seeing these characters here that are an entire wave in themselves. The other wave is going to consist of Han. It's going to consist of Luke from the Wampa set. It's going to consist of Commander Cody and Grand Admiral Thrawn. Now, 3 of those figures are going to be having the face print update, and it does look good on them. It does look sharp, but it's interesting to note that this is the second wave, so it seems quite odd, because if you were going to choose characters for this one, I would be choosing perhaps Mace Windu. I would be choosing perhaps the Obi-Wan Kenobi from episode 3, Qui-Gon Jinn, as I said, and maybe a version of Darth Maul or something like that they could have done with this one, maybe with more soft goods, for example. It's certainly strange to see where this line is going. Possibly it means that we are going to see some new molds for these figures that I've mentioned, maybe some alternate remolds for them as well too. But I think going forward with this line, it's kind of a question mark surrounding it as to what's going to happen. They can't use any of the stuff from the Disney trilogy. I don't think it's popular enough whatsoever. I don't think it would sell. It didn't sell on the first run. Why would it sell on the second? So to me, they are going to go heavy into the old trilogy and heavy into the prequel territory. Where does this go from here? Well, I don't know. We do know that the budget has been slashed for the next 2 years, and this really kind of confirms it for me. You're seeing characters, for example, like the Death Trooper, easy one to roll out. Mountain Trooper would probably come in this line as well eventually. We've got the Shore Trooper, and then we have the Hover Tank Pilot. Easy re-releases. I don't think anybody is really beckoning for them. I don't think they are absolutely squirming for these guys. Meanwhile, now Hasbro have decided in their infinite wisdom then to make exclusives of the Mandalorian Loyalist and the Super Commando, which I'm sure is something that people would have loved to see in wider releases. Will they be used in an archive line? Possibly. Will they use Ahsoka Tano from the Clone Wars in an archive line? Possibly. And then we have, obviously, I think it would be clever of Hasbro if they were to do this, put some Clone Troopers into the archive line, because this is something, and particularly on the new body, I think this is something that people would buy. They would buy plenty of. And or what Hasbro should do is they should take Marvel Legends' lead and make an all cardboard box, which makes the figure cheaper, and sell us Clone Troopers and Stormtroopers at will then, because then it means then people can army build with whatever they like. So to me, like I said, it's curious that they are releasing 3 Troopers and a Tuscan Rider. Very little minimal effort going into that one, so to me it would suggest maybe there's something going on and perhaps there's a problem. This isn't what we were sold on with the archive line going from the start. We were told that this was going to be a line that was going to give us updated and improved versions of the characters, more hard to find characters. I'm not really believing that some of these characters that they're putting into this line are very hard to find, personally myself. That's just my feeling on it. Anyway, I'm going to leave the video there. Make sure you like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell up above, and drop a comment below on what you think about these releases. Are these disappointing, or are these something that you're very excited by? I'm surprised that there wasn't more released for the Mando Monday. To me, it would have been announcing maybe a Quill with the Blorg, maybe some of the other characters like with Mayfield, maybe from The Mandalorian from Season 1, some of the bounty hunters that were involved there, I think would have been a good idea. But like I said, Hasbro are operating now on a tighter budget, so maybe we're seeing some of the last top figures that are going to come from Hasbro. As I said, they were very, very late in signing on the dotted line to retain the Star Wars license. One thing's for certain now, I'd much rather it with Hasbro than it be with McFarlane, because you don't want to get involved with some of the stuff that goes on there. Good luck.